We faced it together. The following morning, I canceled the divorce meeting. Then I called every former colleague I knew searching for work. Emma finally accepted help from family, something she had resisted for months. Friends organized a fundraiser after learning about her condition. Neighbors brought meals. My old boss even offered me a temporary management position until I found something permanent. For the first time in months, we realized we weren't fighting each other. We had been fighting alone. Treatment wasn't easy. Emma lost her hair and often felt exhausted. There were days she wanted to quit. Whenever that happened, I reminded her of the promise we made in the hospital parking lot. No more carrying burdens alone. She smiled through every difficult day. Months later, the scans brought the news we'd prayed for: remission. The doctor shook our hands while Emma cried with relief. Driving home, she reached across the car and squeezed my hand.
You know,
She laughed softly.
if you hadn't come home early that day,
I would have signed those papers, and we'd have lost everything. I nodded. Not because we stopped loving each other, I said. Because we stopped telling each other the truth. Years later, the torn divorce papers remained inside a small wooden box in our bedroom, not as a reminder of a marriage that almost ended, but as proof that silence can destroy what love never intended to lose. Sometimes the strongest marriages aren't the ones that never face breaking. They're the ones we're too frightened. People finally choose honesty before it's too late. K.I. stood outside my lawyer's office with divorce papers folded inside my jacket. My marriage to Emma had become a shell of what it once was. We barely spoke except to argue about bills, chores, or our growing distance. She smiled less each day, and I convinced myself she no longer loved me. After 12 years together, I believed signing those papers was the only way to end the pain. Before heading inside, I remembered I had forgotten an important folder at home. I drove back, hoping to grab it quickly before Emma returned from visiting her mother. As I entered quietly through the back door, I heard voices coming from the kitchen. Emma hadn't left after all. She was on speakerphone with her mother.
I don't know how much longer I can hide it,
Emma whispered. My heart sank. I assumed she was talking about another man. Her mother asked gently, "Have you told him yet?" Emma's voice trembled.
No, he's already carrying so much.
Losing his job crushed his confidence. If I tell him now, he'll blame himself for everything. I froze. What if it's too late? Her mother asked. Emma began crying. The doctor said the treatment has a good chance of working if I start soon. But our insurance won't cover enough. I can't let him sell the house or empty our savings. He's worked too hard for this family. The air left my lungs. Treatment? She continued.
He's been so distant lately.
I know he thinks I don't love him anymore. The truth is, I'm terrified he'll watch me, suffer again like he did when Dad was sick. I couldn't put him through that. Tears filled my eyes as every misunderstanding crashed down around me. For months, I had mistaken her silence for indifference. In reality, she had been carrying the weight of a frightening diagnosis completely alone. Her mother said softly,
He deserves to know.
I know, Emma replied. Every night I want to tell him. But then I see him pretending everything is okay after another rejection letter from employers. I can't be the reason he falls apart. Without thinking, I walked into the kitchen. Emma jumped in shock. Her phone slipped from her hand. How long have you been there? She asked. Long enough. She looked terrified. I'm sorry, she whispered. I never wanted you to find out like this. I pulled the divorce papers from my jacket. She stared at them with heartbreak in her eyes.
I thought you didn't love me anymore,
I admitted. She covered her mouth as tears streamed down her face.
I never stopped loving you, she said.
Not for 1 second. I slowly tore the papers into tiny pieces. I'm the one who's sorry. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. We simply held each other while years of frustration and fear melted into quiet tears. That evening, she showed me the medical reports. She had been diagnosed with early-stage lymphoma just weeks earlier. The prognosis was hopeful, but treatment needed to begin soon. Instead of hiding from the problem,